Are you tired of staring into a cluttered and disorganized pantry every time you open the door? Hi, it's Gautami from Our Home in Making, and I share attainable DIY home improvement projects on a budget. So, here's the embarrassing before of our pantry. Yeah, it was definitely due for a makeover. So, I started by taking out everything. I heard it gets messier before it turns pretty, and I totally believe it. I had to move everything into our dining area. Our floor is literally covered with all the pantry items, and we had to live like that for about a couple months. Once we moved everything, we decided to take the door out to give us easy access. But believe it or not, we still haven't put the door back because our pantry is so beautiful and we didn't want to hide it. And then we took out all the shelf liners, and those old wire shelves had to go. They look so outdated and I really hated them. Pulling these shelves out of the anchors wasn't very difficult. It hardly took us about half an hour for me and my husband to take out all the shelves and the vertical supports in this pantry. But we are then left with these million anchors that we need to pull out of the wall, and then we have to fill all those holes and repair any drywall damage. After struggling for a bit, we finally figured out how to pull these anchors out. You can use a screwdriver to pull these nails out like these, and then pull out the anchor with your hand carefully. To fill these holes, we used dried up spackle. First, take an ample amount of spackle on your putty knife, fill all the holes, let them dry, and use a sanding block to sand the excess. Repeat the process again for a smoother finish. Next, let's add an electrical outlet so that I can move my appliances in here. I marked the spot for the outlet and cut a hole. If you want a step-by-step for adding or moving an electrical outlet, I posted a detailed video on that. Please find the link in the description. In short, we pulled the wires from an outlet that is on the other side of the wall and connected it to the new outlet in pantry. And do not forget to turn off the power before you attempt any of this. Now it's time to paint. I wanted dark colored walls and light colored shelves so that the items that I put on shelves would pop. We chose bitter chocolate from Sherwin-Williams for a bold statement. But before we start painting, we had to wipe the dust off the walls, protect the floor with some painter's tape and drop cloth. Since we wanted to spray paint, I had to seal off the entry too. Look how beautiful the color is. I was so excited to put on my suit and safety gear to protect my eyes and clothes. It was a breeze to paint the room with paint sprayer, but as soon as I painted, the room turned so dark I questioned my color choice. I decided to go with my gut. We then had to install a light. I got a stunning ceiling light from Amazon. It was perfect. The next thing on our list was installing the floating shelves. We picked up some 1x12s and cut them down to the right size. Here's a hack that might help you. Since our miter saw isn't big enough to cut down a 12-inch piece, we made the cut and flipped the wood and cut the remaining half. Now, to give them a bit more thickness and support, we added trim to the edges. We simply used wood glue first to make the joint and then nailed the trim like this. Then I had to finally sand all the shelves on all the sides. This is a boring but much needed step, of course. Always sand in stages. Start with a lower numbered sandpaper and move up. The wood had a lot of knots, so I thought staining them would really bring out their character. After testing a few stains, I settled on Autumn Beat from Minwax, and I'm loving how they turned out. That was before we stained, and this is after. After letting the stain dry, we moved on to installing the floating shelf brackets and securing them to the wall. So let's talk about the floor cabinets next. We originally grabbed some ready-made floor cabinets from Home Depot, but they turned out to be too bulky for the space. So we pivoted and found some wall cabinets from Home Depot that were less deep and fit just right. I painted them to match the wall color. I kept it simple with the brush and roller for the doors and the frame. You can find links for everything in the description, and you can also read my blog, which have all the details of the materials and tools we used and a step-by-step detailed tutorial. Then in the pantry, to give all the cabinets a sturdy base, we whipped up a frame from 2x4s to act as a kickboard. Then I set the painted cabinets on top. Now, to connect all the cabinets, we used more 2x4s like this. We made sure the cabinets are spaced equally in the space and screwed in wood pieces in between to make it a big unit. For a polished touch, we added finished wood pieces on the front to line up with the face frame of the cabinets. Then we added the painted doors back to the cabinets and added some knobs. Now onto the countertop, the final piece of the puzzle. We opted for a finished maplewood plywood board for that clean, natural look. We had it cut to size at the store, but those pesky corners needed some custom attention. Once home, we marked out the diagonal cuts and to keep things smooth, taped it up before using the miter saw. After applying liquid nails on top of the cabinets, we carefully placed each plywood piece and added some weight to really secure it in place. Also, I did not record this, but to tidy up the front edge, we added a decorative trim to hide the plywood's raw edge, as you can see in the front. Lastly, we filled in any gaps with wood filler to give it that polished finish. Then, to organize my pantry stuff, I divided them into 3 categories. I got some airtight canisters for pulses and nuts, large 5 lb containers for flours, and mason jars for spices. Finally, floor cabinets hid all my appliances like wet grinders and Instapots. I could also fit in all the molds and plastic vessels in here. With everything neatly divided into their little sections, our pantry feels much more spacious and manageable. And there you have it, a pantry makeover that's as functional as it is beautiful. I hope this inspires you to tackle your own pantry project. For more DIY ideas and detailed tutorials, don't forget to subscribe.